Also,
here.
the belly is out.
Yes. This is my update for Faith's mom.
Angie, if you're watching,
Angie.
and you better be.
I literally did this for you. You said, "Why am I hiding the bump?" I'm not intentionally hiding the bump. I just keep wearing like dresses or skirts, and you all know that I need some extra protection, so that's why I wear the blanket. And if you didn't, that's the lore behind the blanket. But now I'm doing a little. Now that it's warmer out, I'm showing my belly a little bit.
Bump date.
Bump date. I'm gonna just stand up. You know? Okay.
Another thumbnail.
I know.
Hi, besties. I'm Faith OK.
And I'm Asia the girl.
Welcome to OK Girl.
Welcome back.
It's episode 19.
Oh my gosh, 19. That's so
Wow.
crazy.
Look at us go.
We're just going.
We are.
Also, can I say that you look awesome in all these colors?
Thank you. I never wear
Look
colors.
at you.
Asia came into the room as I was like sitting on the couch. She was like, "Whoa, this is cute," and I was like, "Thanks." I've had it for like 2 to 3 years.
And I was thinking she was gonna say months.
I've worn it like once. So I'm obsessed with Teddy Fresh. I think I've talked about it before on the podcast because I wear it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I love that brand. And they had like a sale. Like this was like one of my first pieces I ever bought from them because it was on sale for like $15 maybe. And I was like, I just want Teddy Fresh. So I bought the sale item and I got it and I was like, do I hate it? I don't know.
No, I love it.
But it's kind of fun.
It's so fun.
Yeah. Normally I think I wear it with black jeans to kind of mellow it out.
I can see that.
Yeah,
for you.
But you know,
this is your spring look. This is like
spring has sprung.
Spring has sprung.
Sort of. You know, at least spring has sprung in the sense that we sprung forward.
We did.
We're an hour ahead now.
It's true.
And it will be light at like 8 p.m.
That is true.
That brings me joy.
There you go.
Yeah.
My gosh. We're
Also,
here.
the belly is out.
Yes. This is my update for Faith's mom.
Angie, if you're watching,
Angie.
and you better be.
I literally did this for you. You said, "Why am I hiding the bump?" I'm not intentionally hiding the bump. I just keep wearing like dresses or skirts, and you all know that I need some extra protection, so that's why I wear the blanket. And if you didn't, that's the lore behind the blanket. But now I'm doing a little. Now that it's warmer out, I'm showing my belly a little bit.
Bump date.
Bump date. I'm gonna just stand up. You know? Okay.
Another thumbnail.
I know. Hopefully you won't be disappointed with me anymore.
I did explain to her. So my mom was like, I never see her bump because it's never like in your content or anything,
right.
Obviously. But then I tried to explain to her. I was like, listen, Asia's clothing has always been like this more baggier silhouette, like an oversized fit. And I was like, she literally hasn't bought maternity clothes. She
true.
just wears what she has and she slays. So.
Thank you. That was gonna actually be my or I guess I don't have like a ton of updates.
Yeah.
But one of them is, or the only one maybe. We'll see if others come to my ADHD brain. But I now that it's getting warmer, I'm really excited because I don't have any maternity clothes, but I do have like maternity fit ideas. And I'm finally able to, like, these soft shorts, or not shorts, these soft pants. I have these in like different colors and patterns, and I've really been wanting to do like loose baggy like fun pants and like either like crop tank or crop tees or like fun button downs that like kind of open up a little bit to have a little bit of peekaboo for Kiko. But I've been so sad because I haven't been able to do that yet. I'm like, it's kind of too cold to do anything.
Cold.
Kiko's too cold. She needs a scarf.
Please stop. Please cover me up.
Please. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
But it's been an interesting journey because I do wear baggy stuff, but I always, like you, like lean towards like higher waisted stuff.
Yes.
So that's been like quite like a good, like a fun challenge for me.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm on Dress to Impress in real life.
Your theme is maternity.
Yeah, exactly. Where you have to think practically. That's my life these days.
Oh my gosh.
But I've been having fun like experimenting. I feel like I'm starting to like get the hang of it, you know? And maybe it's because like my belly's actually like it doesn't just look like I'm bloated, you know?
Yeah.
Not that like anyone else would like notice, but for me, I notice, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm having fun now with like the experimenting with maternity clothes without actually buying maternity clothes.
I love it. My updates, I feel like it's the same way. Like, I don't think I have a lot. This would have been last week at the point that you're hearing this, but last week we had friends over.
Yeah.
Yesterday for us, and it was so fun. So Nick and I love WWE. We have for a really long time. I think I've already talked about it because we went to Royal Rumble. It's a whole thing.
So fun.
But yeah, so Elimination Chamber happened 2 weeks ago, or a week ago from now, and Nick was like, I want our friends to watch with us, but we have something going on, so let's just push it a week. So we watched the replay, and
I think it was equally as fun.
It was. It totally was, because Nick and one of our friends that follows WWE and me, like, we knew the outcome of some of the matches. We avoided as much as possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, even knowing the results, still fun. Loved it. It's always fun for us because we host like a WWE party for all the pay-per-views, and our friends who know nothing about wrestling come, and
they explain the lore.
We explain the lore as we're going. We're like, that guy hates that guy because of this, and then everybody's like, ah! And like, we're so loud and just like having fun, and I love it. It's so good. It's just, yeah. I enjoyed getting one of our friends. She's only gotten to come to like one of our wrestling things before and wasn't really into it. But then we explained it to her that it's just like theater but fighting.
Exactly.
And she was like, hold on, now I get it. And she was in there. She was like, wait,
really
I kind of like that guy.
Yeah.
Wait, I don't like him.
She was defending some people that you were like, I don't like this person. She's like, really?
I know. She was like, no, I like their hair. And I was like, that hair is terrible. And she's like, no, it's not.
Like, I like that iridescent makeup.
I know. I loved it. I loved every single girl that came out. We were like, their makeup is eating.
Yeah, it's true. They really are.
It's impressive. They do that makeup.
So good.
It's huge. It's big, colorful, and it stays for the whole match.
Somehow, some way.
After being slammed into a cage.
The weaves don't stay, but
they really be ripping at the hair.
They really do.
Oh gosh. Yeah. But we always have fun because our friends don't know what's going on, and then we get to explain it, and everybody gets really into it, which
I know. It's so good.
Love it.
Oh my gosh.
So that was fun.
Yeah. I did love my other little update was Jabba, their white mini schnauzer.
Sweet boy.
Sweet boy. I had a sweet moment with him where he was just like he was sitting on my lap. I like picked him up and he was like, okay. He's like leaning up on me, and I was like, I can't tell, like, because Kiko was like kicking, and I was like, I don't know if you can like sense it or not, because like you could feel it. And then he just eventually just like laid down and started to fall asleep, and it was so precious. And Faith got pictures, and I was so proud. And then I got home, and Pocky was like, the heck. And she was just like sniffing my pants with her eyes so big.
She was like also like narrowed slightly.
Yeah,
it was like a crazy eye look.
Exactly, like the vibe of like when someone like finds like a hair on their partner's clothing, like, who is this blondie?
Pocky said, that is not my perfume.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully that'll just make Pocky be more appreciative of me.
Yeah. She has to know that there are other dogs out there.
It's true.
There are other dogs in
needs to be humbled.
in the sea, fish in the sea. Yeah. Jabba loves to just sit and lay. That's his life. He loves being lazy, and so it was so cute. He like slowly was leaning more and more into Asia's stomach.
It was so cute.
And was just like this, and then finally flopped down. But then everybody left, and he paced our apartment and was like so sad, like staring at the door, like, where'd my friends go? But we had fun. Jabba had fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Great. Yeah. I think that's all my life updates. Yeah, just some wrestling.
just some wrestling.
That's it. Today we're talking spiritual gifts.
It's very exciting.
So first, let's preface, spiritual gifts are kind of like the things that you are skilled at that God has gifted you with, essentially, that you can then use to like further the church or help people or
build the
church, whatever. Yeah. So just ways that you can use the things you're talented at in your faith, and like how that comes from God.
Right.
I didn't know anything about spiritual gifts until like maybe a couple years ago.
That's so surprising to me, because like I grew up, my parents also, they like started getting into spiritual gifts more or like learning about spiritual gifts maybe like a year or two ago, maybe 2 years ago now. And I was like, maybe they just taught different things in Sunday school.
Oh my
they
gosh.
did in church. I was like, I definitely remember learning about spiritual gifts like all growing
That's
up.
crazy.
And it would be funny because we're gonna talk about some like a test we took and the results. I sometimes am skeptical of tests because I feel like it's hard, like it's derived from the scripture like listing spiritual gifts. There's not like an actual like whole database of things that you can like create like a test from. I mean, there is an indirect way, I guess, but I feel like one of the best ways to determine whether or not someone has a spiritual gift is like you affirming in others. So it'd be interesting as we like talk through results, like what we affirm, or can be like, because I feel like some of my results I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, as I was taking it, I was like, can I just hand my phone to Asia and have her answer for me, and I could answer for her?
Yeah,
and we'll see. Because I'm just like, part of me likes to game the system a little bit with personality tests, because I'm like, I know what answer I want. Let me just get
what this one is like, trying to find out.
Yeah, but also this one was more difficult than most spiritual gift tests. Most personality tests are.
You said it like made you feel guilty a little bit.
Yeah. So the questions, let me just like give you some examples. The questions were kind of like a scale of unlikely to likely. I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
It basically like never, always.
Yeah.
Kind of a scale of 1 to 5. And some of the questions were like, I give generously to the church to help people even more than my tithe. And I was like, girl, I'm broke. Never.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like but then there are some, there were some that we kind of giggled at while we were taking it, and just like our interpretation of questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because some of it I agree with half of it for me, and the other half I'm like like one was like, I make quick and accurate judgments.
I know others. It's still like both and statements that were like tripping me up.
Yeah.
Or like, you do this because of this motivation specifically. I'm like,
yeah, like I do that thing, but that's not why.
Yeah, right.
And then I'm like, ooh, should I not be doing it for that reason? So yeah, this one was a lot more thought, I think, like than like Myers-Briggs or even Enneagram. I felt like I didn't have to think too long, but it did take me a little bit to do. But this one I was like, whoa, I'm gonna really reflect on my
like
all of my things.
Is God's word the center of my life every single day?
And then then when you click like 4, it's like, oh, no,
I know. I don't know.
Am I a bad Christian? Should it be 5?
So that's been a fun effect for this spiritual gifts test. That's why I think that like I do think it can't. It's not the only way, but I think it can be a little bit more effective when you're just like defining what they are and then like affirming or being like, yeah, for others.
Yeah,
I feel like that's I think that's how it should be. It's like the whole point is like spiritual gifts like serve the church. It makes sense that it's like community helps you like arrive at these.
And I will say the results on the results page, it did say you should discuss this with someone else.
Yes.
Because some of them might just be your perception of yourself and not what actually is coming across.
Right.
So obviously this is not law. This is not this is not the word of God.
The one free test we found is not law.
It literally came from spiritualgiftstest.com.
Yeah.
It's just they got the web address, we trusted them.
Yeah. They did their Google SEO.
Already freaking spammed working. My inbox. I've already unsubscribed to emails in the last hour. But that's kind of what we're doing today, is just talking through our results. And it's just been like, I feel like we've talked about it a whole lot in the last few like months.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just need to take it at this point. But some of the examples, for those of you that are like, I've never heard of this, like me, some of the examples of gifts are things like evangelism, wisdom, serving, discernment, pastoring, leadership, teaching, prophecy, etc., etc. And then with ours, we'll define them and explain them more. But I think it's going to be fun because we don't know each other's results. So we're going to talk about what we thought the other would get, what we got, just kind of how that impacts our friendship. Because your gifts definitely are not just applicable in the church. It carries out elsewhere. So I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
I love a personality test.
I
Tell me
know.
who I am, computer.
Please. And then I'll argue with you.
Yeah, and then I'll tell you you're wrong.
Exactly. This is what motivates us.
So I guess we should start with what we thought the other would get.
Okay.
Do we think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me
pull up a list.
Yeah, me too.
I know we did talk a little bit about what we thought the other would get on Thursday when we were hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that I was thinking Asia would get wisdom as one of hers, because Asia is my sounding board for all wisdom. Anytime I'm like, I shouldn't do this thing, but I want to, I'll text Asia, and then she so gently will be like, I hear you. I see you. You shouldn't do that, though. And I'm like, you're so right. Thanks.
Dude, yes.
So it's that, but also, like, just like, if I'm confused on something that I read, or we see something online that's weird, and then we text each other and we're like, what the heck is this?
Yeah.
And I just feel like Asia is a very wise person. And I feel like that would be the top one that I would think for you.
Oh, that's very kind. For you, one I definitely thought or think will be on there is discernment. Because so the definition of discernment is a gift that is divine strength or ability to spiritually identify falsehood, distinguish between right and wrong motives, and spiritual forces at work in situations. AKA, you're really good at calling out BS. So I feel like that's something that you thrive in.
I do love a call out. I love a little conflict, confrontation. Maybe it's better. Yeah. I think for myself, I thought discernment would be on mine. That was one of my, like, before taking it, I was like looking through the list. I was like, feel like discernment's on there.
Yeah,
it's got to be.
Absolutely. I feel like another one that would be on yours is service, because you're always down to get down.
Down to get down. It's crazy.
when anyone's like, hey, can you help with this? I feel like yours is like, if it's literally at all possible, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Sometimes to a fault.
Yeah. I'm getting better. Better at it. But you're
like very willing.
Yes, I am. Like, we've DJ'd Halloween parties for our church.
See, down to get down.
Nick has put on inflatable costumes for the church. I have just done we gave our testimonies at church a couple weeks ago. Yeah. Anything they ask us to do, I'm like, if I can make it work, sure. Yeah. Unless it's like physically impossible to get my body there.
Yeah. Like, literally, there's no way she could actually do it.
Yeah. Which is interesting, because when it came to Enneagram, I wasn't anywhere near on the helper one, which I get, it's different. But yeah, it is, like, I think maybe it's just because I'm healing and I'm learning to say no.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I love a service moment.
Yeah, look at you.
Yeah.
I do want to know what you got, though.
Yes. So like I said, I thought that I would have discernment. That was kind of the only one that I was like, for sure. And so let me share with you. We'll go through top 3.
Yes.
These were my only high ones, my first 3. The rest were average.
Wait, I only had 3. Oh wait, maybe I need to actually look at my email.
I have a whole chart.
I had only 3.
Wait, you should have had a whole list.
Maybe
Hold on. We'll cut this in editing.
No, you read your first.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I had 3 high ones, which are my top 3. So the first one was discernment.
Yeah.
That felt obvious for me.
Good. I'm glad that it's on there.
Yeah. I mean, I would have been shocked if not. Because I have always, the word I normally use is intuition, because that's the more like, I feel like, worldly word that is used and it's more understood. Is like, discernment is kind of like a Christian buzzword, I feel like.
Yes.
Like, there is discernment in other capacities. Nobody says that.
Right.
But intuition, whatever, I feel like it's typically right. Not always. So that was not shocking at all. My second one was administration, which also felt kind of right, like being type A.
Yeah.
I am a detail-oriented person.
Yeah, there's some of those questions
like organization.
that seems like that would have been you.
Yeah, any of them that was like, I like the details of a project. I was like, yeah, I do like the details of a project. Yeah, I love a checklist. So yeah, I wasn't surprised by that one. The third one, I literally was confused and had to read more about it because I was like, what is this doing here?
That's so funny.
It's pastoring.
Really?
Huh?
Did you get a definition?
So yeah. Oh, let me read definitions of the. Sorry, I didn't think of that part. So let me start at the beginning. Discernment was that top one, and that's divine strength to ability, which Asia read. Strength or ability to spiritually identify falsehood, distinguish between right and wrong motives, spiritual forces at work in situations. Administration is the divine strength or ability to organize multiple tasks and groups of people to accomplish these tasks, which I am very like, hey, we're going to get this done. Just do it. Mm-hmm. So that made sense. Pastor, which the other website we used for definitions, which was like giftstest.net or something. I don't know, something like that. They had pastor / shepherd, which was a little bit, felt a little bit like more understandable. But it's the divine strength or ability to care for the personal needs of others by nurturing and mending life issues. Which,
here's the thing, bestie, I love you. I don't know if I would say nurturing.
No,
is like
it's not. That's why I was like, what is this doing here? Now, listen, I think it's because some of the questions where they asked, like, do you help people when they're in a difficult situation? And I'm like, of course I do. Right. I love my friends. Mm-hmm. I even like, like a stranger could come into our church that I don't know and be like, I really need this. And I would be willing to help them. Yeah. So that part of it, yes. I am not a nurturing. I have discernment on my top one. How does that align with shepherding and nurturing and pastoring?
I think there is. I know people who it is both, and I just don't think that's your Venn diagram, girl.
Y'all ever heard of an Enneagram 8 that's also a shepherd? That's nurturing. I read it and it was like, at first I took it more as a teaching kind of route because I was like, okay, I teach and volunteer in youth, and I do enjoy that, but that is teaching. Not pastoring. So let me share my fourth one and let's see if that one makes more sense, because my fourth one is evagelism, which I think should be my third one. I feel like evangelism wise, I'm not, when I think of evangelism in college, I was literally the person that I would sit with a stranger and be like, let me tell you about Jesus. I don't know why I was like that. It's called my campus ministry was a cult, and I had to. But now I am the person that's like, I'm not just gonna be friends with Christians. I'm gonna be friends with other people, and then maybe through my actions and my words, like they're
very intentional about.
They'll see why I am the way I am, and like the way that Christ has led me to where I am, and like. We have a lot of friends that are in our church because they're people that I've kept a relationship with. And I think I'm not like an evangelist in the way of like random people on the street. Let me tell you about Jesus. It takes me some of my friends that are in church now, it took me years to even get them to step foot in the church because it's hard. But I think that part of like relationship building and being comfortable with the confrontation of the gospel that comes with it, I think that's fits more with my discernment piece than pastoring does. I literally was shocked. I was also, there was another one I was kind of surprised was low on mine, and it's not because it's my name, but faith was one. So faith was 7th on my list. Okay. And it's defined in the other one as the divine strength or ability to believe in God for unseen supernatural results in every arena of life. And I feel like, which maybe it's just like I just have normal Christian faith and it's not some spiritual divine strength.
You're like the normal kind.
The test is like, girl, that's just basic faith.
That's entry level faith.
That's entry level faith. Get a certificate or something and then we'll talk. Do some LinkedIn learning.
That's so funny.
But I felt like reading that definition, I was like, I feel like I can literally look at the worst situation and be like, but God is there. Yeah. And like, he's pulling me through. I literally have gotten so many job rejections recently. Like, keeping it very 100 with you guys. Yeah. I've like, and I've gotten rejections for jobs. Like, I literally Friday I got 2 rejection emails back to back. And I was like, thanks for curb stomping me while I'm already in the fetal position on the ground. But
My gosh.
I got those, and like part of me is like, you know, a little disappointed, but the other part of me is like, I can see that God is keeping me at my job for a reason. Like, there are reasons for that. So I was kind of just shocked that
you put some respect on your name, literally.
Yeah, my name is Faith. Did you not read that? That was not part of the test. It should have been.
It should have been.
Should have been.
Please account for this next time.
Yeah, those were my kind of surprises and results.
So interesting.
And things.
That's so interesting. Okay, mine. I don't know. So I'm some behind the scenes stuff. I use my like actual personal phone as our camera for the video recording of the podcast, and so I'm using this like work phone that I use as a webcam, and I don't have anything set up on it. And so it was like I was trying to log into my Gmail. I was like, please activate on your personal phone, like just press yes. I'm like, okay, never mind, it's okay, we're just gonna say what the top 3 was.
Yeah, that's fine.
And then I'm gonna say what the one I don't agree with.
Yeah.
So on my so I have 2 high ones and then 1 like average one.
Okay.
My first high one is also discernment.
Whoa, slay.
And so I actually would agree with that. I think so.
Yes.
I actually have to. So this is where like I feel like my 8 comes out. Where I tend to be very, especially of like teaching. I am very critical of like how the gospel is presented and how like biblical teachings are presented. I get very like I get very like kind of really like upset when you know, when scripture is presented in a way that's like not like what is intended, when it's especially when it's like very leaning like workspace or just like inferring something from the text that's like so like not gracious, like, you know, like not seeing the full like spectrum of God like through teaching. I remember I don't know who listens to this podcast. I don't know how like
hey, plug your ears.
Plug your ears. But there was a church that I was at for a very short period of time. I wasn't like living there for long, but just the specific scenario, I ended up like going to this church for like 8 months or something, and I really struggled. Actually, you know what? The people that they know, it's great. I can say this.
Unplug your ears. Yeah. It's fine.
It's fine.
Listen to these words of discernment.
Yeah, exactly. It just like blew my mind how like not the pastors that would preach were not like necessarily overtly like workspace in the way that they would like preach sermons, but they were like very like flexing on like, oh, look at everything our church does, like, and it was really interesting because in that specific community there were a lot of like engineers, which was fascinating to me. It just happened weird. The demographic of like, there's reasons for it, and I don't want to make it too obvious, so I'm not going to say it. But but a lot of like I think almost all the pastors like had like an engineer background, and they came from like they didn't start as pastors, and they like came into these roles. Wait, at this church.
Is this church pastored by Good Mythical Morning?
No, it's
Red
not.
Link.
It's actually surprisingly not. But because of that, I felt like they were very focused on like the literal buildings that.
Stop.
Yeah, I'm not even joking. Like, look at this thing. Like,
we built this. Look at it.
Literally, though, it was like, you know, the Lord calls us to care for our community. Look at this thing we literally built for the community, and like and then I felt like it was like very much like, and the way that you serve is by giving money to pay for these projects, and like that was like the like full stop. And so stuff like that, like not just that church, but like just growing up, I felt like I was always very like hyper aware of that, and sometimes I had to like learn to like not be that critical. I'm like, okay, like I kind of focus on passages like that, like what Paul would say, like as long as the gospel is being preached, like Apollos, Paul, whatever, it doesn't matter. Even like he was even calling out like there may be those who preach the gospel in vain, but like his attitude was like, the gospel's being preached. And I was like, I need to like have a little bit more of that like understanding and like patience. So anyways, I felt very affirmed by that.
Yeah, I definitely see that one for you, because I think that also plays into the wisdom piece that I was thinking of. And I also like, I do think like we talk about that a lot, like what we learned at church that day, and then being like, I thought this was weird, or I thought this was, you know, like what I assumed, but I think also you being a more peaceful, receptive person puts you in the place to need more discernment, almost, like if that makes sense.
It's
because
true.
people like will just share anything, you know.
So true.
Especially if you're like a little more reserved and just like seem to be interested in listening, even if you're like, please free me from this.
Absolutely.
And so I think you gotta have discernment to be that type of person.
It's so true. That's a good point. Okay, my other high one I had, sorry to you that it was not high on yours, but faith was on mine. I want to say this in the most like respectful way possible. That's not actually demeaning the realities of life or what it means to have faith, but it's low-key being like Delulu for Jesus, where I'm just like, you know, the Lord's gonna work this out.
No, that's such a good way to describe it. Like, Delulu,
like everything is falling apart,
but like Delulu in a firm foundation.
Exactly.
Like it's not Delulu out of nothing.
Yeah,
like
it's not in vain.
There are things that back up your Delulu.
Exactly. Yeah.
Delulu for the Lord. Delu Lord,
stop. But no, I do think like this is where I feel like Luke and I have our personalities have a contrast, and I don't mean to say this as Luke has entry level faith, but
it's okay, me too, Luke.
Yeah. But a lot of things that tend to be like a source of anxiety for him, I'm always like, it's gonna be fine. You know, God has provided, and he will continue to provide. But I genuinely think like that's just like an area where I do sense, seriously speaking, like a sense of like resilience there, where it's like it really is not Delulu. Like I feel like I do like acknowledge like the harshness and realities of life, but am able to like tend to like be even keeled like in that. So I guess that's where that comes from. Okay, and then the last one that said it was average, and I'm like, I don't even really know why this is on here at all. Is apostleship.
Hold on, I need to see a definition.
Yeah, I'll read it out. I'll read it to you.
Okay.
The gift of apostleship is a divine strength or ability to pioneer new churches and ministries through planting, overseeing, and training. And so this is where I feel like the test confused me because because I am not typically, depends on the situation, but generally speaking, I'm not one to like jump to volunteer to like lead things. However, I'm willing that if there is a need and people know my skill set, they tend to just come to, like, I don't mean this to be like pick me or whatever, but they tend to come to me and be like, hey, can you help with this? And they'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, like I see that fits a need. And they trust that I can like, you know, have integrity to like actually see that project through. Like right now I'm doing this actually, I should have said this as my update. Our church asked me to like run like a video booth for the duration of the sermon series, so like through the next month or so, and it's just like a little video booth that I set up, and people can answer the question like, what comes to mind for you when you hear the question, how are you saved? And so it's just like a cool like way for people to share their stories. And it is kind of funny because our church is very introverted, and so this is the second week that I've done it, and I've had a cumulative total of one recording and then one test recording.
It wasn't me.
Yeah. one 3-second test recording from Nick
that we've turned into a GIF, and he's not happy about it.
He loves it so much. And then one actual testimony. But so like someone reached out to me. I'm not necessarily the one that's like, oh, I can I'll volunteer myself, and you know, because of my strengths or whatever. So that's the one that I was like, I think maybe that's why it thought that I discipleship, because I will like rise to the challenge if I need to, but I'm not like seeking it out.
I remember those questions on there because it kept talking about like I'll find a hole in the like find what's missing, and I'm like, I'm not seeking out additional things to put on my plate. I get someone literally finds the hole, and instead of like filling it, you know, with the dirt around them, they go and pick me up and they drop me in the hole.
Exactly.
And they tell me to figure it out, and I do.
Exactly. I mean, that's how we started Young Adult Group.
Yeah, for real.
We didn't seek it out.
Literally, they dug up me and Asia, Luke, and Nick, and they dropped us in a hole.
You don't know each other, but I mean, it worked out in the end, obviously.
Yeah,
so
clearly.
thank you. But we weren't like, you know what this church needs? A young adult group.
Yeah, I'm of the mindset in all aspects of my life that like I'm gonna do what I need to do, do my job, stay in my lane until someone asks me to do otherwise.
Right, exactly.
I'm a big volunteer me, and I'll do it.
Yeah, so, totally.
Yeah.
But the thing that I thought was going to be on there, and it wasn't, and I'm curious if it's on yours, because I was like, I don't even know if I really saw any questions that like.
I think I know what you're about to. Say.
Hospitality.
It was not on there.
Yeah, okay. That makes me feel like
we
less
need a new
crazy.
test.
We need, this test. That was my fault. I just saw a top one when we Googled
Maybe
it.
we should take the gifts test one.
Maybe we should.
Pause, take
pause
it,
real quick.
Share.
But yeah, so hospitality, I'm going to read this, is defined as, oops, I accidentally went back to the top. The divine strength or ability to create warm, welcoming environments for others in places such as your home, office, or church. Dude, I thought that was gonna be my top one.
It does. It fits you. Yeah, like I
totally thought that.
Like your whole brand of who you are is like creating a comfy space for people.
Exactly.
And like, it's the test though. It's not on there.
Yeah.
Let's see if there's any words that would have aligned with it.
Yeah. I don't know, because like.
I don't know what some of these words are. I'm going to be completely honest. What is exhortation? So
that's like specific, challenge, encourage. Like you're able to like contextualize encouragement to the unique person.
Oh, okay.
If that makes sense.
Okay.
So the reason I was hoping that hospitality would be on here, because I love to talk about hospitality, because I think when we're talking about spiritual gifts, hospitality often gets like conflated with entertaining, which are two totally, one is not a spiritual gift and one is, and not to like minimize entertaining at all, but I have found in not every church I've been in, but like in past churches, often hospitality always the gift of hospitality is always like attributed to people, to women whose husbands either like preach or like host small groups or Bible studies or whatever.
Yeah, hospitality is reserved for the pastor's wife.
Literally, exactly. Like that's it's like a hand in hand type thing, and I'm like, that's not necessarily true. Like there are pastors' wives that are hospitable, but just because you're a pastor's wife and you have people in your home does not make you hospitable.
Just because you know how to open a bottle of wine and put cheese on a board does not
just
mean
because
you're
married doesn't make you the like single people. Like there's like no room for single people to be hospitable, or men,
which they should be.
Yeah, absolutely. And so like I remember talking about this with someone who, she was raised in a very like Southern Baptist like environment, and that's how she used to view things, and it was like kind of cool to see her like break out of that, because she would have like definitely used entertaining and hospitality hand in hand, or like as a either or descriptor. And I was just talking about like hospitality is really about like making people feel like comfortable and safe to be able to share life together, and I would say like not everyone has that ability to do it, and that's not a bad thing. That just means like
no, like I will fully own I am not hospitable. That's not like, I'm all for creating a community, but creating the space for the community,
stewarding space do that.
It's not for me. Like when we have friends over for wrestling, it's like good luck, sit on the floor. Like,
I would also argue personally that it's not even necessarily like, it doesn't have to be physical space. I think it's just like the atmosphere, the vibe, if you will, that you bring to us, to like a group setting or whatever, some sort of communal setting. That's like where hospitality really starts, because I think like another thing too is like, oh, you can only be hospitable if you like own a home or like rent an apartment, like if you have a space of your own or whatever. And so I just feel like that's like a very like Western like manipulation of what that gift is. And so anyways, that was gonna be my soapbox on hospitality, but it wasn't on my list.
That's a deserved or deserved soapbox. I feel like if we took the other one, it has to be on there. We'll have to like, because
report back.
Like the fact that like, to speak to Asia's hospitalityness, not only is it like you open your home for us every week for our young adult group, but also like for her birthday, she was like, I want to cook a meal for my friends. Please. And I was like, what type of birthday is that? Like, you're like in the kitchen cooking. And she was like, I want to do this all the time. And I was like, I love to have a friend that way, you know, like, because that's not me.
It was so great. Oh my gosh. Just sitting on the table and everyone's eating and we're like, oh wow, this is so good. And we're just hanging out. It's the best.
Yeah. So that it has to be on your real test.
On my real one.
Yeah.
The real ordained test.
The one from gifts.net.
Yeah. That has to be it.
We're just gonna take all of them.
I know.
And then we'll like add points and average and we'll determine and come back.
Perfect. Yeah. I'm kind of surprised that apostleship wasn't on yours, because I feel like some of the questions were like about administration, and I thought that was apostleship.
Well, let me see.
But maybe I'm wrong.
What the heck is apostleship?
Or craftsmanship, maybe? I don't know.
Craftsmanship is like working with your hands.
Oh, never mind.
In construction environments? Yeah, that's not me.
Never mind.
Yeah, apostleship is the planting, overseeing, training, new church ministry thing.
Yeah.
Which here's my thing, is that I think I read those questions, and when I was like pioneering a new ministry or a new church, not a chance.
Yeah.
I will assist in it.
Yeah.
So maybe that's where like I answered differently than, you know, somebody that's perceiving me would have. I don't know. But yeah, like I think that kind of goes with the serving piece, which I also don't. Where was serving on mine?
I'm surprised that wasn't higher.
Serving was number 9 for me.
That's so wild to me.
Which I think,
what do they know?
I feel like that's also because this test was very much like serving in a sense of like finding a need and filling it and allowing people to rely on you. Some of the questions I was like, that feels like an unhealthy boundary.
Yeah, I know.
So
for real.
I think like service in this definition of doing smaller great tasks, working for the overall good of the body of Christ, I would say yes. That is something I do, and that's a gift of mine. Doing that for anybody and everybody, no matter what, always, which was what those questions made it feel like. I was like, no thank you. No thank you. I have to take care of me as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think
that's so funny.
The list that we have here is different than this test.
Yeah, I think you're right.
There's just some overlap and not overlap. So
next time. Yeah,
we'll figure it out. It's fine.
But how do you think our gifts work together?
Oh yeah, I mean, obviously our discernment being number 1.
Yeah,
I love that.
I love that too. I see that. Like, we definitely sharpen each other in that.
Yes, I totally feel that, because I think our discernment presents in different ways.
Absolutely.
Because of just who
Mine
we
is the
are.
quiet, like, I'm listening, but that doesn't mean I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah, exactly. And mine is like, I'm not gonna hear this. But I think like that shows in our friendship of like, I would say a lot of our conversations come from like, I heard this thing and I didn't like the vibes.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Or I heard this thing and I liked it. I've never heard it before. What do you think?
Right.
And I don't think I've had a friendship that does that before. Like, I think, not that my friendships are surface level with other people. It's more so like, I have different interests with other friends, or just like, we're not quite spiritually aligned, or like at the same, not at the same level, but just like, you know, like,
yeah, no, I hear you.
It being a Christian for my entire 25 years of life is different for some, like, my experience is different than someone that has only been a Christian for 5 years or whatever. And so it's like, I think like our friendship is the only one really where I'm like consistently being like, I saw this. What is going on?
Yeah.
What the heck is this?
Yeah, that's cool.
And I think I see it, like, we do that with, like, church related things and scripture and, like, you know, things on the internet that people are posting as if they're Christians or, you know, whatever. But I think we also just do that generally.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Just, like, anything.
Yeah.
Like, we just did the Oscars freaking red carpet and we had a lot to say. We discerned a lot from that red carpet.
No, that's true though.
But yeah, I think that's like a key part of our relationship.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah. And that might, I mean, I think friendships are all different too, and I think it just speaks to, like, everyone has different spiritual gifts.
Yeah,
so it makes sense that, like, we nerd out about the things that we perceive together, and they're always, like, very funny conversations.
Yeah, they are.
But yeah, no, I would agree with that. I did love that. It was both high for both of us.
Yes.
I think too, well, this kind of is still building off of us having the same thing of discernment, but I think it is cool to see how, like, our other gifts like complement or enhance that gift. Like, we just said it in a joking way, but for real, like, Faith is really good at, like, in boldness calling things out that she's, like, sees or witnesses in the moment, whereas I tend to, like, be pretty, like, it depends on the kind of relationship too, but like, I tend to, like, internalize and, like, think through it for a long time and then, like, process it with you. And I think that there's, like, times for both. I think there's definitely times to, like, you know, be not exasperate a situation and, like, communicate when, like, maybe that's not the wisest thing to do in the moment, but at the same time, like, there are times where, like, hey, for the sake of the community, if you don't call this out in the moment, everyone else is gonna feel, like, not cared for. Which I think you do really well. So
I think first of all, we're a great tag team because of that. Because one of us will say it when it needs to be said.
It's true.
We might not both say it when it needs to be said, but one of us will. But, like, I think also just, like, learning from each other, because like, we talked about this in the Enneagram episode too. Yeah. But, like, me 4 years ago loved a confrontation. I was, like, begging for somebody, like, to fight me. Like, it still happens sometimes today. Like, you know, I'll get a funny sort of side example. I posted about how much I loved Kendrick Lamar's halftime show. I ate that up. I loved it. I thought it was great.
It was awesome.
It was so good. There were so many things going on. It was just amazing.
So good.
And I had people feeling the boldness to slide into my DMs and be like, you're wrong. And I was so excited. Like
you've come to me.
There's the meme of Kendrick walking by going, hey Drake, with his little smirk. That was me when they slid in my DMs. I was like, oh boy, let's go. So I do love a confrontation every so often, because for me, that's just, like, a quick solution to problems. Yeah. And that's how I view it. It's not me thinking that's always the solution. But if I can just hash it out real quick with you and confront it and be done and we move on, amazing. We're efficient. We've done it. But I am learning from, like, you know, our friend group is healthy and good. And also just, like, seeing how you handle things and are wise in choosing when to say or not say. I'm learning when it's time to, like, that can be something I pull them aside about later. Or I can just wait to see if that's something that continues or if it's a one-time thing. Because sometimes it's not worth calling out a one-time thing. So I'm learning from our friendship.
I think we're both learning from each other for sure. Because I feel like I'm the opposite, where, like, I can overanalyze. In some cases, I can overanalyze and, like, just never say things where I'm like, really, when the relationship is already there, like, I should just, like, trust that relationship and, like, just say it instead of just, like, hoping they'll figure it out on their own. I was actually thinking, like, I think this probably ties in with discernment. One of my like, I don't know, practices, mottos, whatever, is I'm here for like a vent session, but only if that vent session is productive. Yes. And so there's one time kind of recently, actually, when Jacob was like, venting about just like how frustrated he was like a specific weekend, and it was like a bunch of stuff for like a lot of different people, and then one of the ones was like something that Luke had said, and I was like, oh, you didn't, he brought up later, and I was like, oh, you didn't like tell me that initially. He was like, yeah, I like wasn't trying to bother you. I was like, oh, but you could have just like said something. He's like, yeah, but and so then literally he was like about to go on his way to like work out or something, and Luke was in the kitchen. I was like, by the way, Jacob doesn't like it when you say this. And then Jacob was like, dog. And I was like, no, now it's done. And Luke was like, I'm so sorry, like I won't say that. And I was like, sometimes, you know, like I'm here to like let people process their things. I feel like that's where I am patient. Like people need to work their stuff out sometimes. They need to verbally process, but like I don't know if this is always like the right thing to do or not, but like I generally speaking, I tend to be like, I'm cool with you venting, but only if like this goes somewhere. Yeah, because I feel like when you don't have that, then that's what like can lead to bitterness.
Well, because then you're just gonna hear the same vent session next week and the next week and the next week, and that is inefficient.
That's very inefficient.
But I think
which question is that on the test?
I think in that case too, the example you're giving is like a good example of how it's like you knew the relationship.
Yeah, right.
Obviously they're not gonna beef about it. Exactly. It's like oh, my bad.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
And so when you know the people and like know them well and can trust that relationship, then it's like, yeah, cool. I can just resolve this real quick.
Yeah,
we'll be done.
A quick little thing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Efficiency.
That's my administration side.
Yeah, exactly. Just the admin girly.
Oh my god.
What is your role in the church? I'm just admin.
I like to type things and check boxes.
Organize.
Yeah.
But yeah.
This was fun to like talk through. Yeah. I do want to take the other test.
Oh yeah, I feel like I
might do that after this episode.
Yeah, we'll report back maybe next week. But I am excited because in a couple weeks we're having like a part 2 of our Enneagram class.
Yes.
And so we'll have to like after it's only a 3-week class, so after that we'll definitely have to put an episode together.
We're type maxing.
Yeah, type maxing.
Yeah, we reference that episode a lot, so go watch. I think it's our 3rd.
Something like that.
4th.
Yeah.
It's called type maxing. Go watch that. Because that will give you a lot of, I think, just like a foundation to get to know us. Yeah. Not that the Enneagram, it's just the things we shared in it.
Right.
About our lives and stuff. Will give you what you need for that. To like really understand our Delulu-ness and who we are.
Delulu for Jesus.
Delulu I'm just Delulu entry Lord. Level Delulu for Jesus, but Aisha is like, she's CEO.
I guess.
Delulu for the Lord.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, thanks for sticking with us on this ride of spiritual gifts.
Yes.
If you took the test or you already know your results or you found a different test.
You know, you're like, that test sucks. Use this test. Please tell us.
Or if you said, I don't need a test, I know me. Right. Then share that in the comments. I want to know what you guys are good at. And talented at and all that. And while you're at that commenting, go ahead and rate, review, subscribe, like, follow, all the things. Please. All the things to keep up with us. Yeah.
And then your Delulu to-do for today is, you know, we all may be unique snowflakes who have different kinds of gifting in the church, but one gift I'm confident, one spiritual gift I'm confident we all have, it may manifest itself in different ways, but you know that you have the gift of yapping. It may be internal yapping. You may not be an extroverted person and you're just in your head yapping to yourself, or you could be more extroverted and you just yap with everyone, with all your besties. But I just really want to encourage you to foster the gift of yapping. Okay. Yes. Don't let anyone stop you. Anyone who does is a hater, and we're saying, and we have the gift of discernment, so it must be true.
Yeah. That's not gaslighting either. Not at all. We're discerning that it's not gaslighting. It's so true.
It's absolutely true. So do not feel guilty when you feel like you've been yapping to yourself or to others for a long time, because all you're doing is just refining that spiritual gift. But anyways, I'm Asia the Girl.
And I'm Faith OK.
See you next time, besties.
Bye. Bye.
tied spiritual gifts, and I was like, I don't actually be heretical, but
listen to the
funny.
two girls with the microphones.
Please, yes, listen to us always. We have discernment.